Good morning, guys. Good morning. I hope everybody's well. So I want to talk about BKFC Manchester. And I only want to talk about one fight that is absolutely sticking out like a sore thumb to me, which is Jono Chip Chase versus Gary Fox. Now, this has the potential to be an absolute barnstormer. You know, Jono Chip Chase is a legend in Muay Thai. You know, I've had the pleasure of watching this guy for many years as I was an up-and-coming K1 and Muay Thai fighter. You know, I was a massive fan of Jono's. You know, I knew who he was. I'd watched a few of his fights. Legend, absolute legend. You know, so composed, beautiful striker, so durable. You know, you have to kill the kid. You have to kill the kid. You know, Gary Fox, very similar but in a different sport. You know, Gary is a boxer. You know, I first heard of Gary years and years ago when I watched Gary have a bare knuckle fight with someone who was fucking gigantic compared to Gary. You know, you always remember Gary scrapping with a kid. I think it was down Peter Lee way. The video went viral, and Gary was fighting this guy who was clearly a fucking super heavyweight. I dare say 18, 19 stone. Gary being not the biggest of kids, but fucking digging in and banging it out with his fucking big mush. You know, and this lad was fucking gigantic. And Gary was just there banging away with him, stood there banging him, picking him apart, fucking a right scrap, you know, like a proper tear up. You know, and I always remember this video going viral, and I was at the time I was training with one of my pals called Paul Truscott. Paul Truscott was a former Commonwealth title holder, you know, a fucking extremely good boxer, especially on a British level. Probably could have went further, but was a bit of a lunatic. Paul's one of my best pals, and he was telling me about Gary Fox. You know, that's my pal Gary Fox. He's a good boxer, and he was telling me about what he's like and stuff like that. And that's when I very first Gary Fox come on my radar, and I started to hear his name a bit more. And then when he fell into this bare knuckle boxing game, you know, my ears pricked and I paid attention. You know, and then, you know, watching Gary come through, you know, yeah, he hasn't won all his fights, but he's fucking entertaining to watch, to say the least. You know, he's constantly coming forward, he's constantly pushing the pace, you know, and he can box, but he's also willing to dog it out, isn't he? And I think you can't take that away from certain people. That's why people like Gary Fox are always going to win, lose or draw. They're always going to be successful in their own right in the bare knuckle world, because, you know, after them type of fights, win, lose or draw, you can always walk out of that ring knowing that you've just laid it all on the line and you've just give everything you got. You know, and that's, as a fighter, that's all you can ask for yourself. You know, there's no quitting the lad, and that's why I'm intrigued by this fight, because I know Jono is you know, he's a very similar fighter, very durable, very durable. I think Jono's got the edge over this fight because he is a harder hitter. I think he's a bit more cuter with his strike, and he's a lot more calmer, and I think he's got the overhand. I think he's got the uphand because of his power. But again, I certainly wouldn't be having a bet on it. I certainly wouldn't be putting my money on anyone. But I do think Jono is probably the favourite to win this, you know. And if I had to choose, if I had a gun to my head and I had to choose, I would choose Jono. But may the best man win. I'm a fan of both fighters, you know. Got a lot of respect for both lads, and I really do think this is going to be a fucking proper tear up, like a proper fight, and I'm really excited for it. I'm going to tag Jono Chip Chase's channel in the title. If you could all go give him a watch, give him a follow, it'd be greatly appreciated. God bless, guys.